Welcome to the Industry Podcast.
We just came to chill and have fun.
Ladies and gents, welcome to Meet the Industry. We're on episode number 3 and we're going to talk about money. This subject might be a little touchy, but great art does not come free. So in order to survive in the music industry, take some financial advice from me. So basically we're going to talk about money and finance in the music business. There are lots of horror stories in the music business. Plenty of bands get exploited and money gets wasted. And those aren't small amounts. In the commercial system, industries take what they can take and get away too. That's part of how capitalism works, whether you like it or not. But it has to be fair, right? So paying attention to the business side of your artistic career will help you defend against those practices and loopholes. But you just got to follow one small thumb rule, and that is find specialists. The music industry is poorly served by garden variety accounting practice because these people do not know where the pitfalls are when it comes to the music business. They don't know where the skeletons are or how to deal with specific issues that arise. Getting people with that knowledge and getting them involved can make a huge difference in the long run. In fact, it can be the difference between long-term success and failure. And it does not really have to cost much, So what I'm trying to say is getting the financial approach right from the start is vital. Because artists by nature are not financial experts. The manager might be somewhat good with money, but it's not his or her forte either. Obviously, stuff like foreign taxes and financial structures are not their specialty either. Ask yourself, as an artist, would you let a well-intentioned amateur run the lights and sound at your show? No, obviously not. So why let a well-intentioned amateur run your entire financial strategy? That kind of doesn't make sense. It's a sad fact that artists tend not to focus on the business side of things, and then 10, 20 years down the line, they suddenly go, where's all my money? Too often, the answer is, it was wasted and you never even saw or understood where it was going. So find an expert, and find one expert that you can trust. So I'm talking about hiring an accountant who is a skilled professional who helps people and companies deal with the tax department. The best way to find a good accountant is to ask other musicians who they trust. It's important to use an accountant that knows about tax laws for musicians. All of this falls under bookkeeping, and bookkeeping is about counting every rupee that comes in and goes out. This is the basis of money management, and the reason you must care for money management is so that you can avoid nasty surprises around money that can take away from your energy to make music. When you're starting out, it's as simple as setting up a spreadsheet with 2 tabs, 1 revenue and 2 expenses. Every revenue or expense needs a date, an amount, who it was paid to or who it was earned from. Add up the columns every month and match that to your bank account. At the start of the next month, begin a new sheet. At the end of the year at tax time, give those sheets to your accountant. So that was all about bookkeeping and accountancy. Next in the money management segment comes the part where you get paid or collecting your money. How does one get paid for anything? By asking. A more realistic answer though is by chasing. Now let me guide you through it. The key thing is the due date for the payment. Focus on this date, and whoever is paying needs to know this date, so make sure that has been communicated. Preferably use email for this sort of communication. Now, patience and tenacity is a must when getting invoices paid and bringing in the monies to fuel your movements forward. Stay focused, keep your cool, be polite, and just keep chipping away at the slow players until they cuff up. It's not very often that someone just doesn't pay. So I have prepared a guide to getting paid. It's a series of steps to follow, kind of like a checklist. So check this out. Number 1, gather info for the invoice. People will only pay when there's an invoice with all the necessary info. Number 2, make the invoice. Feel free to Google some templates and choose one you like. Make a habit of numbering those invoices. Number 3, send the invoice. Number 4, due date. Check if you got paid and wait until the next day. Number 5, check if paid. If not, follow up. This is your first reminder. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Go and chase up the money you're owed with a clean and polite email. Number 6, check if paid. If not, follow up. This is reminder number 2. You could be better off calling them so they can put a voice to this debt. It helps personalize it, which can get the payment processed faster. When you call, be firm but also polite and keep your cool. Find out why it's not paid and get a commitment from them for another date. If you don't want to call, send another email but maintain a firm tone. Number 7, check if paid. If not, follow up. This is reminder number 3. If you're here, you're staring dangerously close at not getting paid. Getting on the phone is imperative at this stage. Seeing them face to face could be an even better strategy. If you don't want to do this yourself, you can send someone you trust who is happy to do this for you. It's best if you can find someone who also knows them and can intervene on your behalf. Number 8, check if paid. If not, follow up. This is your final reminder. This time, it should push them over the edge and get them to pay you, even if only to get you to stop harassing them. Tell them what a letdown it has been for you and how it's not good for their reputation. Number 9, check if paid. If not, write it off. What can you do about it at this point? Don't ever work with them again. Let your artist friends know about this experience. If they do choose to work with them despite that, then at least they'll get their money up front. There are debt collectors, they charge you for collecting your debts and will generally only work on large sums of money. But these guys can be scary, so you may not want to go there. And number 10, one last hope. After 2 months, check once again if it's been paid. If not, follow up once more. We don't know sometimes why people don't pay. Usually they have a good reason. Most of the times, it's more likely to be through their management rather than them trying to cheat you. Send just a friendly reminder. It doesn't hurt anybody. Who knows, you might just get paid. That wraps up our action list for getting paid. But this list pertained primarily to artists' live gigs. Another avenue for revenue is obviously your music, your releases. The revenue is generated by your streams on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. And its payments are collected by someone called a distributor and paid to your bank account electronically and periodically. Now the amount you're earning here won't be too significant, so shift your perspective a little. Let me show you where the real value lies in this. It's a word, one word, magical word called data. Data is almost synonymous with money these days. Your distributor will provide you with data that you can use to find out more about your audience. Work out where your audience is, where you should be playing shows, which new territories you should be targeting, which songs of yours are performing better than others, and if you work this out, you'll be knowing exactly where to be putting your promotion money. So dig into the data, dig in hard, because it could turn out to be a gold mine. The current state is such that booking live shows is the best bet for bringing in cash for musicians. Revenue from releases is far on the back seat since the demise of CDs, vinyls, and cassettes. Although the latter two formats, vinyls and cassettes, have made a comeback, they are in a different avatar. I like to think of them as merchandise of sorts, like an exclusive collectible. They're almost like a novelty, something your most loyal fans are more likely to invest in. So we're done with getting paid, and we'll now move on to a similar concept, which is raising funds through two things: sponsorship and grants. Sponsors support your music by giving you money, and in return, they want to tell all their customers and associates that they gave money to you. You become a poster boy in their marketing campaigns, which are targeted towards their current customers and your fan base. But you need a big enough audience for them to be interested. If not, then there has to be at least some other benefit for them in this. You can start off with people and companies you know and slowly move up the hierarchy when it comes to raising funds through sponsorship. And a value tip for choosing sponsors, if and when the time comes, is this: keep it real. Don't try to be someone you're not in order to get a sponsorship. Make the brand fit your vision and intention, and not the other way. Moving on to fundraising through grants. When a government body or a charity foundation gives you money that you don't have to pay back, it is known as a grant. This can be for recording, touring, or collaborating with other artists, or something else. All you have to do is apply. You are basically asking for it, usually by filling out forms and playing with a bunch of other artists, with only a small number of them being accepted and granted money. To get more info on grants in your country, just do a simple search on Google by typing grants for music in so-and-so country. Now, we've spoken all about obtaining money, right? From live shows to releases to fundraising. In our country, we are all ever struggling to receive our money on time, and that's frustrating. We want to change that, and I guess what we can do on an individual level is to try and pay our bills on time. That is, at least let us be the person who pays others on time. It builds trust and respect, which makes people support you when you really need it. This is about ethics, and we all do need a more solid ethical ecosystem for this business to be more sustainable. It will encourage the newcomers to enter this ecosystem without having to worry about chasing payments, and also lets them focus on what they really want to do, which is make music. The generation before us have long fought this battle and often lost money. From here on, we have to bring the change and set it up good for the next generation. Payment ethics is a problem that's been eating indie artists for a while now. Along with working laboriously on their craft, they have also suffered enormously to pay their bills because they're not getting paid on time for shows they've already performed at. It shows a lack of respect towards the art and the artist. Such malpractices must be resisted. Make sure that you're dealing with people who understand payment ethics, and make sure you are also abiding by these ethics when it's your turn to make the payments. Set up 2 email folders, one for invoices unpaid and another for invoices paid. Put a reminder 2 days before the unpaid ones are due, and once they are paid, move them to the paid folder. Now we're approaching the end of today's subject, and the last thing we need to discuss is cash flow and how to manage it. As soon as you have taken your music out of the bedroom, your music is becoming a business. One of the biggest reasons why a business fails is cash flow mismanagement. What is cash flow? Cash flow is 3 things. How much money you've got, what are you going to earn, how much are you going to spend. Take your eyes off your cash flow and boom, you're in debt, in stress, and walking into bankruptcy. So keep this in check. What's coming in and when? What's going to go out and when? How do you plan to pay for expenses before your money comes in? Do your budgeting beforehand. Imagine the worst case scenario and prepare a contingency plan. In simple words, always think 2 steps ahead. This is the end of our money segment. Quick recap of all points we've discussed in this episode. Find an expert to do your bookkeeping. Don't take this lightly because he or she will help you save taxes too. Set up your spreadsheets into revenues and expenses and maintain it all year round. Next, follow a list of steps to getting paid for your live shows. Gather info for invoice, make it, send it, then follow it up systematically. When you release your music, collect data from your distributor and use it to understand your audience. This is a way of getting paid too, because sometimes data is as valuable as money. Once you have a big enough or a loyal enough audience, you can raise funds through sponsorships, but you can always start with friends and family. Do some research on grants in music. Every country provides grants and you might be the lucky one to get a scholarship. We know we need a stronger ethical ecosystem, so be the change you want to see in this industry. And finally, manage your cash flow. That's it for today's episode of Meet the Industry. I hope you learned something new. If you did, then please spread the message to your musician friends. Tell them about building a stronger and more sustainable ecosystem. Show them how to go about managing their finances. Help each other out and make awesome music without piling unnecessary stress about pending payments. Let the experts take care of that so you can do what you're here to do. If you enjoy my podcast, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. That's it for today. I'm your host, Maulik, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day ahead.